we have a very special guest and his father, two very special guests, that we met last year at SolidWorks World. And for those of you that know HSMWorks, we are a gold partner of SolidWorks. We have HSMWorks, which is a gold partner integrated CAM system for SolidWorks, as well as our newest offering that we launched earlier today, HSMXpress, which is the first free CAM system for SolidWorks and the free CAM solution for SolidWorks users. We asked Dave, who's our guest father, if we could bring him out to be part of this event, because second only to the day that we launched our company at SolidWorks World in New Orleans, this is the most important day in our company's history, the launch of HSMXpress. And so we wanted those people that have been supporters and friends of ours over the years to be part of this with us, to come and hang out with us. And you guys made the trip on Virgin Atlantic Airlines from California all the way out here to Orlando to be with us, and I really appreciate that. So I want to introduce our viewers and our listeners to Riley Lewis, the young man on probably the left of your screen now, and Dave Lewis's father on the right-hand side of this screen. I appreciate you guys coming out. And Dave, his background is engineering education, really. He trains engineers and trains individuals on very complex systems, and that's been his background for a long time. And that's probably one of the reasons why Riley got interested originally in technology, but Riley took it a step further. He was showcased at last year's SolidWorks World by then CEO Jeff Ray. Is that correct? I'm right there, right? And with the unpickable lock, and then we ran into each other over at the exhibitor hall, and I heard the story, and it was awesome. And as soon as I met Riley, I knew that I wanted to work with him and work with his friends at his school, and we want to talk about that. So first of all, Riley, for our viewers and listeners, how did Jeff Ray find out about you? Jeff Ray being the former CEO of SolidWorks, how did he discover you?
Yeah. The credit to that mainly goes to Elise Moss. We started this program in 6th grade called the Tech Challenge. It's for a museum that's on the West Coast. So what you do is you have a problem or project that you need to create or solve. And the problem in this case was how to get defunct satellites back into the atmosphere and out of orbit. So what you had to do was attach 2 D-sized batteries to Velcro spots on the model satellite. The batteries symbolized engines that would push it back down through the atmosphere.
Sure.
So Elise Moss brought SolidWorks, and she says, "Oh, if any of you guys want this, it might help with your design." I'm like, this looks cool. I would like a copy. My laptop at that point was actually powerful enough to run it, which was lucky to say the least.
Right. That would have ended your experiments with SolidWorks before they ever started. That's cool.
Yeah. Then later on, after our first design failed, I'm like, I can take the designs in SolidWorks and stress test them. So I used PVC as the material on a pipe that was 10 feet long with a 2-pound weight on the end, which is about what our design was. And it turned out that the PVC almost completed a whole arc.
Right.
So the problem was the PVC was way too wobbly.
Sure.
So after that, we changed the design and eventually won 4th place in the competition.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so through that, you ended up in a video at SolidWorks World in front of 4,000 or 5,000 designers and engineers, and everybody was cheering, and you were there with your dad. That's how I met your father as well. And it was really cool because I always talk about how much I like the SolidWorks guys, and you invented an unpickable lock that you brought with you that you had printed through on one of the devices that one of your sponsors provided. Talk a little bit, not necessarily about the design of the unpickable lock, but the process. You designed it, you 3D printed it. Talk a little bit about that and how you made Jeff Ray aware of that project that you were working on.
So the funny thing about that is Jeff actually asked me for one because he told me he had this one.
That's right.
He told me he had this one lock by a particular company on his boat. And I'm like, I can pick that in like 10 seconds. He's like, geez, that's not good. And it's like, so what's a lock that's near unpickable or almost unpickable? I talked about biometric for a bit, but
Right.
then he went, can you design one? I'm like, give me a month. And he's like, sure, we'll take you to the next show if you design it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember last year we met a whole bunch of cool people last year. You got to meet a bunch of my friends from HP, and I know you met the folks over at Box Technologies. But you got to meet one of the top dogs at Halliburton, and you got to show him your lock and his wife, all the folks over at HP, at Box, and at Objet, and a whole bunch of other people that we're buddies with. You got to show them some of your designs. You brought some designs that you have 3D printed, either that you've done yourself or you have collaborated with individuals. I think a friend of yours in Australia. Let me get you to hold up these two gears first and talk a little bit about that one first. Yeah, if you want to hold that mic for him. Talk a little bit about those gears just briefly. And those were designed in SolidWorks, right?
I actually don't know what they were designed in, but these are on Thingiverse.com, which is a great resource for hobbyist 3D printers. A guy who has the username of Child, which is spelled CHYLLD.
Okay.
Had these up. They were actually replacement gears for the 3D printer originally, but I made a couple tweaks to these, and now with the design, it doesn't have normal gear teeth. It has like chevron-shaped ones.
Sure.
And the advantage of that is when they mesh, they have no wiggle room when the axles aren't going.
Right. That's awesome. And the funny thing is, we're here at the PRI show in Orlando at the convention center, and Traxxas is here, the guys that make the RC trucks. And you were over there with some of the guys showing them the gears and stuff like that the other day. You've got two other things here. You have a really cool rocket and also a replacement part for the 3D printer that you made on the 3D printer, which is pretty cool. How about holding that up real quick? And yeah, your dad that actually flew. I can see it's a little burnt on the bottom.
Yeah. So this is our rocket.
Yep.
Dad gave it to Vernon and I as a project. Vernon's a friend of mine who also does 3D printing.
What school do you go to? Give a shout out to all your friends at your school.
Discovery Charter School. It's in San Jose, and I would not have been able to get here today without the help and support of the other kids.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Vernon, Douglas, Amanda, Ben, and all the kids who are now in my dad's class that he teaches at school.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, and we're proud to be working with those guys. Okay, back to your story. So you got that project. You designed this rocket.
Yeah, this is my version of the rocket, and it did sort of fly. But the cool thing about this rocket is if you see the fins in the camera, you'll notice that they're actually twisted. So when it's in flight, it'll spiral.
That is very cool. And when I come out to California, we'll fly some of those. So we need a whole slew of those rockets. So you're going to have to start printing those things probably when you get back before SolidWorks World. There's one other component. Hold that up just real quick. That is a replacement component for your 3D printer that you 3D printed, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so what this is the normal 3D printer corner pieces. They have about 10 pieces and take more than 10 screws to assemble. They're pretty complicated overall, and most people don't like them. I found this one online. I'm not sure who it was by, but it takes the printer's made of steel rods for the frame, and the rods go through each of the little holes, and the screws over here.
Right.
The screws go in the little slots and just hold it all together.
Sure. That's awesome. Dave, you work with the school, you work with the students, obviously Riley and his compadres out there. One of the things that excites us about Riley and his friends is the fact that they're doing stuff that, quite honestly, every student should be learning. But the fact that they're doing it, like I talked about Kedej Arvar, who's like the prototypical VAR for design to manufacturing, Riley and his buddies and you guys in the program that you have at this charter school, Discovery Charter School, right?
Right.
Are really the prototype of what I think the future of education needs to be in the United States. And I'm going to go this far. I don't understand why there are not at least 30 graduates from every major high school in the United States that do not have at least their CSWA, which is a certification from SolidWorks, or I think they could do it because, I mean, when you challenge students, they can rise to the challenge. I don't think there's any reason that you couldn't graduate 30 CSWPs by the time they graduate high school. Talk a little bit about that and the future that you see in education, and do you see something like that happening?
I think so. One of the big challenges is getting the kids the hands-on time. So much of the school is all theoretical. What really worked well for us here was coming back from SolidWorks with some equipment, getting some more equipment, and then getting a group of kids together to do this type of design work.
Right.
All summer we had kids there 3 days a week, 5 to 7 hours a day, learning how to do this. Riley's doing his CSWA, what, on the 13th?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's hopefully going to be the youngest ever SolidWorks certified associate.
You better hurry up because you're going to have competition now.
Oh,
People
boy.
are going to see this, and they're going to try and jump in there. Talk about the program, though, at the school, some of the projects that you have them working on in addition to this and the skills that they're learning.
What we did was we built on the work we'd done over the summer and set up a formal elective class. Kids are learning a couple of things. Basic 3D design, using SolidWorks, thanks to them for the license. Big shout out to Marie Blanchard for that.
Yes.
They're also learning all about 3D printing and then how to apply that to specific projects they're working on.
Right.
The one the team has settled on is a speaker housing for a mini component system that plugs an iPod.
Awesome.
So they're designing the woofer enclosure, tweeter enclosures, circuit board holder, battery case, all to be integrated, all to be printed.
Awesome.